We got a case of the Mondays.
At least it's not 30 minutes in like our...
Yes.
What episode was that? That was probably like our 5th or 7th episode.
Yeah. Dude, we did a whole episode, and then we literally didn't record any of it.
Yeah.
And then we went back to try and do that to redo it, and we couldn't remember what we had or hadn't talked about, and it just became a jumbled mess, and I think that we just scrapped it.
Okay. Take number 3. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of King of the Court. We are your hosts.
King of the Court bloopers.
King of the Court bloopers. We are your hosts, Tyler, and the one and only Where's Jimmy at? Yes. Big thanks to our title sponsor of this show, The Pickler. We love The Pickler. They do indoor franchise facilities, pickleball facilities. They are the leading facilities business in pickleball for indoor facilities. Jimmy broke some news last week. What was that?
Supposed to?
I think it was a little bit premature, but now I think you're fine.
Story of my life.
Yeah.
Canada.
The
Pickler.
You love Canadians.
I love Canadians. Canadians are big fans of the show. And
Did you know about, which seems like a very, very small number, but about 2% of our audience comes from Canada.
Really?
Listens from Canada.
They're the loudest.
2%.
Then that full 2% DMs me.
Yeah.
So Canadians, we love you guys. We're big fans. Now, maybe not of your food, but they're coming to Canada. The Pickler is headed to Canada.
Yep.
Over 100 locations they've signed on for.
Over 100 locations for Canada. So that's insanely exciting for...
How many Canadian provinces do you know?
A lot. I know all of them.
You do?
No.
Is Saskatchewan a province?
Ottawa? Should we get a little map pop up right here? And
maybe.
Hit them?
I don't know.
I've been to BC. Beautiful. I have not been to Toronto, which I'm really wanting to go to.
What's that famous national park in British Columbia? It's like gorgeous.
I think there's a couple.
Oh, isn't there one that's like super famous?
I don't know.
We'll touch up on our Canadian history.
Yeah.
There's supposed to be a maybe this will make the PPA Canada, Toronto, actually happen.
Yeah, maybe. Hopefully. All right. Anyways, thank you for your support, The Pickler. If you are interested in owning your own business, getting involved in pickleball business, reach out to thepickler.com and check out their franchising section and tell them that we sent you, the boys at KOTC. Also, our next sponsor of the show is Pickleball Central. They are the number one online retailer. They have everything pickleball related, whatever paddle, whatever
want that
ball.
new Yola Gen 3 shotgun? They've got it.
They've got them there.
They've got it. Use our code.
I'm not going to say how many, but on day one, Pickleball Central hit their biggest sales they've ever done for any paddle release.
I'm sure. Yeah.
It was crazy.
I mean, you're seeing the pictures flow out like on the Discord. Did you see that picture where it was like the paddle rack and like everybody had one?
Yeah.
Pickleball Central is where they got them, I promise.
Pickleball Central, and they also have the best return policy.
Yes.
So go check them out and use code KOTC. It is the best discount code available. It supports us, and it also saves you some money. Win-win. Yeah. All right, so thank you, Pickler and Pickleball Central, for your support.
Yeah.
All right, Red Rock.
Yes. Before we start,
we
got to give a shout out.
To who?
Because this will air tomorrow.
Okay.
On the 30th. To our favorite twins on tour, the Kawamotos. Happy birthday, Jackie and Jade. I don't know which one's older.
Who's older?
I feel like, you know how like the older one, even if it's by a couple minutes, is the one that's like, feels like a little more motherly. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's Jade. I remember being at like TOC and Jade was like, Jackie, Irina texted us. We got to go. Mm-hmm. But Jackie's way more social, and she seems like, I don't know. Anyways.
How old are they turning?
It's a great question. I'm going to guess.
Let's guess.
I'm going to say, I think 28. That might be old. I might be way out.
That might be old?
Older than they are, is what I mean.
Well, I hope you're...
Do you know?
I don't know.
I'm going to guess 28. We'll see how good of friends I actually am with them.
All right. Red Rock.
Open.
I pull up the very first day. Literally, I drive straight there. Because I was teaching a kids camp clinic for free.
You, giving back to the community.
Socializing with the kids. I pull up. There's a stop sign. And you know how people kind of do the California roll is what they call it. I stop maybe 95%. And I kid you not, there was a cop on a motorcycle on the sidewalk. And I see him out of the corner of my eye, kind of. And this is the first time I've driven on this road. I'm like, oh, I wonder what he's doing. Anyways, I make the turn. All of a sudden, this cop follows behind me. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Pulls me over, ends up giving me a ticket for not stopping 100% at the stop sign.
Stop it.
The first day I get there. Welcome to St. George.
Did you have your wife and kids in the car?
Yeah, and the kids were crying.
Oh my gosh. You need to do that trick.
For not stopping 100% at a stop sign.
You need to do that trick where like Ivy's like, Dad, I gotta go. I can't hold it, Dad. I can't hold it.
I was so mad. So mad.
You should be mad.
And they were just sitting there giving people tickets the entire weekend.
Yeah, that's the thing. They were like, oh, crowd of people. Let's take advantage. St. George, if you want people to come back and enjoy your beautiful city, don't do that.
I heard that the city of St. George actually doesn't like it. There's too many people and stuff like that. They don't see the business, but the pickleball community obviously loves it.
Dude, the
people of Greater Zion, which is like another business, they love it.
So we saw, I mean, if you go to Instagram,
government officials are crazy.
But you saw every pro taking pictures of they were hiking.
Yeah.
They were going to Zion's. They were Snow Canyon. I mean, there's pictures everywhere. They were hiking up to the Dixie D. What do they call it? Dixie D?
The Rock.
The Rock?
Yeah.
There's a fire. Did you start that?
I did not.
It was the day you got there. Were you pissed? You pissed about the ticket and you started a fire?
I'm still mad right now about that.
How much is it?
I don't know. I haven't called yet, but I think they're cheap, like $50 to $100 or whatever.
Yeah,
but
it's still.
Are you kidding me for not stopping? And it stopped like 95%.
Yeah, I agree. But 100%, you gotta go all the way, Tyler.
Oh my gosh!
You still broke the law.
Yeah, that's what the guy told me.
See, I should be a cop.
Really making a difference in people's lives.
It looked. I mean, obviously the pros. It's hard to get to. The one thing with St. George is how many pros flew into Vegas and had to drive the 2 hours to St. George.
Yeah.
A lot of pros drove straight from Los Cab, and they just drove through, or they'd stay in Vegas. So you saw everybody trying to get there. And then I think once people got there, they realized, the people that haven't played there before, how amazing it is.
Yeah.
The facility's sick. Obviously,
they added like 4, 5, 6 more courts.
Yeah.
I actually really like the championship court. Some people said it was a little bit small, but I thought it was great size.
Yeah, championship court. The backdrop is unlike anything you've seen, obviously. I mean, it's pretty impressive. But there were some interesting results, number one.
Okay.
And some interesting situations, I guess. So one, we'll go men's singles real quick.
Okay, men's singles. So Federico's been on a tear.
Well, I think Fed, obviously, but Ben Johns decides not to play singles. Mm-hmm. Colin was on the broadcast. Mm-hmm. And Colin said that Ben decided to stay in Disneyland for a day.
Hey.
He wanted to spend a day at Disneyland.
Did he have the ears on?
Oh, Hunter, he did.
The shirt.
You know that guy went to Star Wars Land and he had the lightsaber and he was dressed up and he went and there's a section you can go make your own freaking lightsaber.
Yeah.
He went and did that. It's like $500 and he got all the pieces and he built it. Yeah, he's that guy. And he carried it in his little freaking case that they give you.
He got the fast pass, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Ben
squeeze a few more rides in.
Ben is all in. I can tell. He's all in at Diz.
Okay.
For sure. So he didn't play. Fed was the 1 seed, which he actually would have been the 1 seed anyways because he earned it. And he did what Fed does.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of incredible at this point.
So it's funny. People in the Discord, they're crazy. But they were talking about singles, and they said outside of maybe the top 2 players, almost anybody could be upset in the round of 32, which I thought was a valid statement. The level of talent is so high in men's singles at the moment. It's crazy. It's great to see.
So, I mean, is it Jack Sock makes his first championship Sunday?
Uh-huh. Were there any upsets that you saw?
So
this Noe Cleef?
Yeah. So Noah, I think it's Noah or Noah. Yeah, Noah. So this is something interesting. Before MLP, 2 and 20 on the Discord.
Yep.
Reached out to me and said, "Hey, this kid is good. He won the kitchen tournament, $25,000 prize. He's going to be really good. He played tennis at Illinois.
Supposedly he was the number 1 junior 14 and under in France.
Yeah, and he was all Big Ten like 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
So his tennis background is very extensive.
Yeah.
And anyway, so he comes and he goes and beats Dylan Frazier. And then he tells Jay, hey, I'm the best Frenchman on tour. Mm-hmm. And he beats Jay DeVilliers.
Those are direct words too, right?
Yeah, direct quote. He said,
yeah.
I'm more handsome.
Yeah.
And I'm more French than you.
Yeah.
And I make better croissants. And then he goes and plays Tyson. He played him fairly tough, but
apparently he was actually up 9-4 the first game.
Yeah, he was. He was up 9-4 and Tyson battled back and ended up beating him. But that's a pretty good run for him.
Yeah.
And he had a pretty good run in men's doubles with Slutsky.
He did. I think they lucked out slightly with a couple of
Jay
withdrawals.
And Pat
Jay and Pat pulled out.
Because Jay didn't want to lose to another Frenchman again. And so they pulled out. But yeah, so that was a good run for him. I think he's a guy that you probably need to keep an eye on.
Okay.
He's still pretty young and new to the sport.
Rio had a big upset over Jaume.
Yeah, so Rio beat Jaume. I think that shocked a lot of people because Jaume's been doing so well in singles. Yep. But Rio Newcomb, big win for him. You had a good little run. Not bad.
Kind of. So I played Colin Schick, and I played okay the first game, played incredible. Yeah. Probably the best I've played in the past, honestly, 3 years in singles. And then the third game, I just couldn't keep it together, and I was really wanting to win because I found out that this Rio guy beat Jaume, and the winner of our match was going to play him, and Colin ends up beating this guy 3-2. And so that, had I been able to get that win, then maybe I would have been able to play Federico.
You felt like it, I felt like it opened up a little bit.
Anyways, I was happy with my play in the second game, for sure. So hopefully, little by little,
you're building.
Building.
Are you playing singles in Atlanta?
Atlanta, I am. Yeah.
So Fed ends up playing Tyson. I don't know if you watched that match at all, but Fed, I mean, the score was pretty close, but it felt like Fed was in control the entire time. Like Tyson would play out of his mind for a couple points, but it just felt like, you know how it just never feels like he was going to lose. It just seemed like Fed was kind of controlling that entire match. Bottom half of the bracket, I'd say the big upset, Big H beat Connor Garnett.
That's the second time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really good freaking win for H. I mean, H is playing some amazing singles right now. And then Jack plays. Okay. So Rob Cassidy went and asked his dad and his brother how you pronounce his name.
Okay.
Wang Yung.
Yep.
Wang Yung.
Yep.
Is how Cassidy said it.
One more time.
Wang Yung.
Look at his name and say that.
Wang Yung. I'm going to say it.
It's not Kwang Duong?
It's not Kwang Duong. It is Wang Yung, and we're going to pronounce it correctly on this show, or at least how they say. Okay? So Wang Yung and Jack Sock played.
Wait, is that his name right there?
Yep.
Okay.
So shout out all of our Vietnamese fans. And Jack Sock went three game thriller. Do you struggle saying sets? Do you think sets is appropriate?
That's a tennis lingo.
I know. Yeah.
I don't say that. I say games.
But people say sets though that come from tennis.
So, yeah, those that still come from tennis. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so he beats.
That's the biggest tell to see if somebody's an actual pickleball player or a tennis player.
They say games or sets. Yeah. So Jack beats him in 3. It was a really good match. I mean, Wang Yung played
Zane
very
Navratil,
well.
he beats J-Dub Johnson.
Yes.
And Zane's a lot of talk. He said he was going to do the spin serve on JW when he was up 10-3. Didn't happen. I had my phone out, everything. I was recording it.
Does that shock you?
Doesn't shock me.
Zane's a liar. Is that what you're saying?
Well, he lied in that instance.
I mean, what's Zane doing? Also, Zane, he lost to Christian.
But he did do the serve there in Christian's match.
He did do the serve against Christian, yes. And Christian turns to the ref.
Pretty savage.
Zane spin serves it, and Christian aced. He aced the first time Christian, I think, put it in the net. Then he did it again, and he almost aced him. And Christian looks at the ref, and the ref's like, "What? I didn't see it." And what was funny is Zane was dropping it, but when he would drop it, he would do like this slight spin.
Yeah,
it was pretty savage, and Christian was pissed.
Yeah,
but Christian gets the dub. So then Jack goes and plays Christian 11-1, 13-11. We get to the championship. Fed rolls Jack in the first game, and you're like, okay, well, Fed's got this. And then game 2, Jack bounces back, and he absolutely puts it on Fed. But there's a little controversy.
Puts what on Fed?
A lot of things. There's a little controversy, and I'm curious your thoughts on this.
Okay. I did not watch this, so.
Okay, so Fed walks back. So after every point, if you watch Fed play, he's very calculated. There's no wasted movement. He's not tiring himself out. He walks to his towel after every point, and he does it slowly, deliberately, takes his towel, wipes his face, then he goes and finds the ball. He may return to his towel, and then he sets up the serve.
Sure.
So it's a 30 to 45 second routine after every single point.
Yep.
So there's a ball that looked like it may have been in or out. Questionable call. Fed walks to his towel, wipes his face, does his whole routine, picks up the ball, gets ready to serve, and then challenges the call.
Uh-huh.
And Jack was mad and said that's like him using 2 timeouts. He needs to challenge right away as opposed to, spending a minute wiping his face and doing all of this, and then right before he's about to serve, challenging.
And did they allow for that?
They allowed it, and they said that as long as the next point is not started, he can challenge.
Gotcha.
And Jack was a little bit upset with that because I think in Jack's eyes, he's like, well, Fed could look to his bench. He could look to the crowd. He could see if they, everybody else's thoughts, and he didn't have to challenge it right away.
Yeah.
So later in the second game, Jack started doing the same thing. Maybe not challenging, but he was being very deliberate. I saw him kick the ball into the corner a couple times just so he'd have a few extra seconds to walk over, slow things down. And I'm just curious your thoughts on that. Like, do you think that that's just part of the game? Is that gamesmanship? Is it?
I think it's slightly gamesmanship. To my understanding, I thought the challenges, I guess if they said that as long as it's made before the next point, that's one thing. But I thought that challenges had to be made fairly quickly.
Yeah.
When a point ends. And so you're talking within 5 to 10 seconds or so.
Well, because later in that match, a ball hit the line, Jack played it, hit the ball into the net. And then turns to challenge it, and Onisha actually was the ref. She said, "You can't challenge that because you played it."
Yeah,
and that's tough because if you don't play it, it's a split second.
Yeah,
and sometimes I think you play a ball knowing that it, you can't. Anyways, it's a tough call, but in the end, Fed 9 straight.
This is 9
straight finals.
Okay,
4. I think it's 4 straight golds.
Okay. Crazy.
Is that one of the best runs ever?
You can't dismiss Ben John.
Yes, but singles is so much parity.
Yeah, but
Ben's done that in singles too. Yeah, but it's pretty incredible.
One could argue, for sure, that the talent is significantly higher now, but still, what he did was pretty incredible.
And then Christian ends up beating Tyson
2 and 3
in the bronze, 2 and 3, pretty handily.
Yeah.
So good. Congrats to Fed.
So. We said this, but Fed's the number 1.
Yeah.
A lot of people were saying he can't be the number 1 because he doesn't beat Ben regularly. No. What are your thoughts?
I don't think it matters. I think Fed beats everybody else regularly.
But if he's not beaten,
and the reality is matchups. There's matchups matter.
Okay.
And there's going to be players that you play well against, that other play, and then those players will play well against somebody else, right?
Yeah.
And then it's just how matchups are and how they work. And, Ben has lost to guys that Fed would never lose to. And then Ben's beat Fed.
Yeah.
And there's styles in pickleball and there's matchups in pickleball. And we'll talk about it when we get to the women's doubles side of it. But Tina Pisnik is a terrible matchup for Callie Smith.
Or a great matchup, depending on how
or a great matchup if you're Tina, right? And so we'll get to that. But yeah, I think Fed has proven he's a clear-cut number 1 men's singles player.
Real quick, I harp on this too much. You guys are going to hate me, but we need more indoor tournaments.
Yeah.
The weather there on a couple of the days was great.
Yeah.
Most of the days, I would say 70, 80% of the time, there was a 10-mile-an-hour wind, 15-mile-an-hour wind. There was a little bit of rain one day. And I was talking to somebody, and they're all like, you guys are pros. You have enough to worry about. You don't need to be worried about the ball shifting 5 feet right before you hit it.
Yeah.
And I agree. You guys, everybody should want to see pickleball played at the best level.
Top conditions.
Top conditions. Yeah. I always make this reference.
Wind is not part of the sport.
It's not. If it's under 5 miles an hour, that's fine. But when it's 10, 15, 20 miles an hour, it's crazy.
It seemed Championship Sunday was perfect.
Yes.
3 miles an hour, 3 mile an hour winds.
Yeah.
It did get a little hot later in the day. I think it ended up with 77.
Yeah.
But it was 59 in the morning, 77 at night.
Yeah, but I mean, could you imagine basketball? I mean, this would never happen, but somebody goes up to shoots a three, and then at the last second,
Yeah, bro, if you're not played outside on the double rims with the chain nets, that's what happens. You got to play the wind. You got to play the wind with your shot.
LeBron would be LeCry.
Dude, they're even moving.
You're a big LeBron fan.
Love LeBron.
James fan, huh?
I love LeBron.
LeBaby.
Dude, they're even moving golf indoors.
No, they're not.
So Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy are building.
What, in Dubai?
I think it's in Florida. An full indoor course. And it's like this huge facility.
Yeah.
Maybe it's in Vegas. I can't remember.
I mean, once you play indoors, almost everyone I talk to, they love it, and they don't want to go back. Yeah. I think 70-30. 70% indoor tournaments, 30% outdoors.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I think that's fair.
All right, women's singles.
Guess what tournaments are both going to be indoors?
Which ones?
Salt Lake.
Yes.
MLP and PPA.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyways.
Okay, women's singles. So your top women, Catherine, Annalie, Paris.
Yeah.
They were not here.
They weren't there. Tyra didn't play. She hasn't played in a while, but you know who did come out of retirement and play some singles?
Who?
Glosdog.
Vivian
Glosman. She has effortless power. I mean, effortless. Yeah. Obviously, she's tall, strong, well-built female.
Careful what you say.
Oh, that's a compliment.
Okay.
And she has effortless power, and she hits the ball as hard as any dudes. Jason Peary said that him and Cord played her and
Alex,
because Vivian was here in Utah, in northern Utah, for a couple days, and he said that she hits as hard as most guys he's ever played.
Yeah. In addition to what paddle she's using, that's insane.
Yeah. Yep. He said that it was just nuts.
Yeah.
But she plays first round Judith Castillo. Like, Judith is a good singles player, great singles player. And she beats her 7-2. And then she goes and picks up another win over Michelle Esquivel, your former partner. Mm-hmm. And then she plays Georgia, and she actually melted down in that last game. She had her, I think she was up 7-4 or something. And she kind of melted down. But it's a good run for Glosman, who hasn't played a lot of singles.
Yeah.
And then Leia was the heavy favorite, in my opinion, coming in. Mm-hmm. You know, I would say it was Mary, Leia, and Georgia. Mm-hmm. And so Leia ends up playing Georgia in the semis and beats her 4-0. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a beatdown.
Yeah.
And then Mary kind of cruised on her side of the bracket. She plays Caitlin Christian in the semis.
Dominique ends up losing in the quarters to Caitlin Christian, 9-11 in the third.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's close.
That's tough. So, yeah, Mary ends up playing Caitlin and beats her 4-8 or something?
Yep, 4-8 in the semis.
Yeah. So then we get to the championship, and the championship was interesting because it was kind of a tale of two games. Mm-hmm. So Leia wins game one fairly easily, and she looked great. Mm-hmm. Game two, about the middle of game two, Leia has to take like a timeout because her blood sugar. Uh-huh. So
is that just a normal timeout, or does she have to call a medical timeout?
I think she took a medical timeout. So here's one of the interesting things. I've talked to Leia. I actually asked her about this personally. The altitude affects her blood sugar more than playing at like sea level.
Sure.
And so she's playing at 3,000 feet in St. George. I think it's 2,900 feet. And so that affected a little bit. So Mary wins game two. And then game three, I mean, Mary played great. I mean, some of the shots she were hitting were insane. So you can't take anything away from Mary. Mm-hmm. Mary earned it, and she went and won it. But Leia clearly wasn't herself either.
Yep.
But Mary was hitting just insane shots. I actually didn't realize how fast Mary Brasha is. Mm-hmm. She's fast.
Is she the one that has you blocked?
Yeah, that hurts. She was
so
fast.
You can't congratulate her?
No, she was fast to block me. Bing.
Come on. Now or never.
That's good. That's a good one.
Now or never.
Yeah.
I wonder how many phrases he has in there.
I think there's like 3 or something. And then bronze match. Caitlin Christian beats Georgia in an epic match. Georgia wins 11-7 and then loses 12-10, 12-10. So Caitlin gets another medal in singles.
She's good in singles.
Yeah. And Leia wins a silver, and she wins women's doubles, which we'll get to. And she won gold at the last one. And I think she has 4 medals in her last 3 events, something like that.
Yeah.
So again,
love to see it.
Yeah.
Some new players or some old players are starting to kind of have a little bit more success as of recently, which is great.
Yeah.
All right, but first, before we move on to, let's go into mixed doubles. We want to give a big shout out to our next sponsor, C&D Pickleball Nets.
Yeah.
Jimmy, give us an update on C&D.
So C&D, a couple things we'll talk about. The big thing with C&D, if you guys want to know, what's one of the coolest venues you have ever played at in pickleball or seen?
The most iconic one, which we've talked about, is in New York, City Pickle.
Yes.
Yeah.
City Pickle in Central Park.
You have the landscape behind you.
Yes, I have a picture of it. Yeah, and they turned Woolman Rink into pickleball courts.
Yep.
Well, City Pickle just signed a deal with C&D Nets.
A 3-year deal.
3-year deal. So all the nets at Woolman Rink now in Central Park are C&D Nets.
And they're also doing permanent courts there.
And permanent courts, yes.
Yeah. And they're using C&D pickleball nets.
Yeah, no more of the kind of the roll-on surface. They're doing permanent courts. So, I mean, that honestly, if you ever get a chance, it's worth it to go there, to go play.
Last year, I mean, I would say last year is when in New York City, a lot of people caught the bug per se.
Yeah.
For pickleball, I can only imagine how many bros will be out there this summer.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
This spring.
Yeah. It's insane.
Should we go out there and just do a pod?
Dude, we should. Can we get your brother-in-law to come?
Lydia? Get Lydia?
Lydia to come hang out.
Sameen?
Sameen.
Yeah. How fun would that be?
Yeah,
just sit there.
We should. Freaking Tim Parks.
Dude. Anyways, these big facilities, they're investing. They're buying C&D pickleball nets. They're great. If your club, your church, your backyard, if you're needing a great, sturdy pickleball net, go check out C&D pickleball nets. Which
someone sent me a video.
Someone sent this guy a video.
I'll post this video, but someone sent me a video of Red Rock. And the nets they were using at Red Rock, it just collapsed. Yeah. Middle of the match.
Just collapsed.
Just mid-match. Blink, see ya, net's gone.
Yeah.
Collapsed. You don't get that with C&D. That doesn't happen with C&D.
Knock on wood. Yeah.
That doesn't happen. So C&D, honestly, their nets are amazing. We were just up there again at their facility. Like, check them out. If you guys want the best nets on the market, you definitely need to go check out C&D. Also, a funny thing about Central Park. Have you read that story about the dude who refuses to let anybody play pickleball on his... I think it's a handball court.
I have not read that story.
And there's this dude that like gets there and like, so all the handball courts and racquetball courts and everything were becoming pickleball courts because City Pickle obviously charges. Yeah. And these are public courts in Central Park. And this guy,
he just camps there.
He camps there, literally camps out. He gets there before everybody else and he'll hit the ball against the wall and he just waits until somebody, like, he won't let any, and I guess there's pickleball players all around him playing, and he just keeps one court for himself in case someone comes, because he doesn't want the pickleball players to squeeze out I think it's handball.
Yeah.
All the handball players. We need to get him a C&D net.
Okay.
I think he'd realize how great pickleball is.
All right, moving on to mixed doubles at Red Rock.
Yeah.
So once again, Catherine Prenter wasn't there, Annalie wasn't there, Paris wasn't there. Some of the other names weren't there.
Yeah.
Ben was with Etta.
Yeah. Ben plays with Etta for the second time. They actually, their first round match, Christine Shrifanovich, Christine McGrath, formerly Ben's ex-girlfriend. Can we say that? They dated. That's public, right?
I think so.
Okay. Anyways, they take him to 3. I think he was shook a little bit.
He didn't know what to do.
He didn't know what to do. Like, if you played your ex-girlfriend in pickle, would you struggle? You try to bag her. You're that type, huh? You're that type.
That's me.
So Ben struggles. They go 3, and then they kind of rolled out from there.
AJ Kohler making his return.
Yeah, AJ coming back from a bad hammy gets him and Amelia Schmidt. Amelia Schmidt is, I believe she's Australian.
I think she was up here for quite some time, maybe 4 or 5 months, but I think she's heading back to Australia.
Oh, she is?
I think so.
So they had a couple good wins. One of them, Pablo and Lindsay Newman. That's a really solid win. And then they ended up playing Leia and Hayden. Did AJ not play men's, or did he play men's?
He did.
Okay.
Him and Augie.
Oh, that's right. He played with Augie. That's right.
Yeah.
He played with your nemesis.
My nemesis, which apparently I really don't like.
I got another message saying, why doesn't Tyler like Augie? And I'm like, what are you guys talking about?
I warmed up with him. I love him. But that's what I'm saying is these players, and not just specifically him, but for example, last year, who won men's doubles? Tyson and who?
And freaking Brendan Long.
Okay.
Yeah.
At that time, do you remember what people were saying about Brendan?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What were people saying about him?
Oh, yeah. They're like, oh, he's the next big thing. He's so good. Remember, he made the little stick figure of
Yes.
himself.
And that's what I was getting at with
Yeah.
Augie is he's
Sustained
had great
success.
Sustained success. That's what I'm about. You have to do it for a minimum of 10 years
10.
before I give you credit.
You got to be on Tyler's level.
Exactly.
You got to be an OG. So anyways, yeah, AJ made his comeback. So it was good to see AJ back out there. A couple deep runs. So Millie Rain and Gabe Tardio had a good run. They had a pretty favorable draw. Mm-hmm. They did beat Tammy Emmerich and DJ. That's a good win.
Your girl, Tina and Deckel, going out first round.
So that was crazy, but I actually think that came back to help Tina.
Okay.
Because she didn't have that deep run in mixed.
Yeah.
So she was able to rest up for women's. But Anderson Scarpa, former Black Bear, and Cass Hogue. Is it Hogue? I don't think it's Hogue.
Is Hogue.
It's
How else would you pronounce it?
I think it's
Hoag?
pronounced different.
Hoag?
I don't know.
It's Hogue.
Cass Hogue, Anderson Scarpa. If it's not Hogue, tell us. Zach, I know you're listening. Tell us how it's actually pronounced. Anyways, huge, massive win. It was incredible win for them. I mean, not only did they beat them, they smashed them.
Yeah.
3 and 4.
3 and 5.
3 and 5. Just crushed them. But the weird thing is this is what we mean by sustained success. Then they turn around and they lose to Daescu and Frantova, who I actually think is a better matchup for them than Deckel and Tina. Mm-hmm. So I didn't see that match with Deckel and Tina, but maybe they just, I don't know.
Elise played with Jack.
Elise dropped you for Jack.
She dropped me for Jack, and she got 1 win. Was that worth it for her?
You're going to have to ask her that because I just can't imagine it was because I told Tyra that Elise dropped you for Jack.
I told Elise afterwards, I said, hey, if you would have played with me, we would have won that match.
Yeah. Well, I said, hey, Tyra, Elise dropped Tyler for Jack. Will you beat her for me? And Tyra's like, absolutely, but I have to play with her in women's too.
Oh, man.
Just kidding. I didn't tell her that, but she would have done it.
Michael Lloyd ends up playing. We're jumping all over the place, but he got beat by Sock pretty bad in singles.
Yeah. 11-0, 11-0.
Yeah, pretty
He
bad.
got skunked.
And then he plays them again in mixed doubles.
Yeah.
But it was a little bit more competitive.
It was more competitive. Can we talk about the lucky loser?
Yes.
So Megan Dazan is sick. She has a virus of some sort, and she has to pull out.
Which Pat Smith has a virus of some sort, which is weird.
That is weird.
Just kidding.
But
he is sick. That's why he pulled out.
Yeah, I think they both have mono.
Yeah.
Don't you get mono? It's not the kissing disease.
That's what they called it back in the day.
Is that how Mary got it?
We're just kidding, Megan. We're just kidding. It's a joke.
Anyways, so they didn't want to just give somebody a free bye because there was already a bye. And so Rob Cassidy and Ivy Shedder get the 4 seed.
Yeah.
They slide them in, which I actually think it's smart. They need to do that. I don't know how they choose who gets that, but they need to put them in that spot because you can't just give.
They do, but they need to change the seeding to whatever.
Yes, they do.
They need to take their spot, but they don't need to keep that same number 4 seed.
Yes, exactly. But
okay. All right, moving on to the final. So we got Ben and Etta versus James and Anna.
Yeah, so James and Anna win the first game on a freaking Anna Bright ATP, which was disgusting. Mm-hmm. Really close game, 14-12. And then Ben and Etta just locked in. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure. I mean, Ben did miss a lot of serves, by the way. Serves.
He was reading Ignatowicz's newsletter.
He was. Clearly, Ignatowicz missed plenty too. Mm-hmm. And Ben and Etta ended up winning it in 4. So 12-14, 11-7, 11-8, 11-1. Ben and Etta's second gold medal. Mm-hmm. They played great. I mean, Etta's a great compliment to Ben. Mm-hmm. She's pretty amazing. Now in the bronze match, I don't know if you watched that bronze match.
Alex Strong, go Diamonds,
gets her first PPA medal in only her second or third event. Mm-hmm. But here's the crazy part about that: 10 missed serves. They won 11-9, 11-9, essentially only having 1 serve every time.
Who was missing?
Both. They had the yips. They couldn't serve. They had the yips. 10 missed serves. It was wild.
That's getting in Jimmy Miller's status.
Yeah, it was, because I've had the service yips before. Like I had like my serve is ugly because I had the yips, and so now I have to like mentally like focus to hit it. But yeah, they ended up still winning with essentially off of 1 serve every time. beating Frantova and Daskew.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Daskew making a deep run with Frantova is really impressive.
Yeah.
He's a monster.
Okay.
So
women's
congrats to
doubles?
Ben. Yeah, let's go women's doubles. This one was fun.
Okay.
Women's doubles.
So, Callie and Anna.
So no Rohrabacher, no.
Do you know why Rohrabacher's not there? Was this planned?
Yeah, I
or-
think it was planned. I think she just wanted a break because
Shocking. Someone wanted a break with 4 tournaments in a row.
4 tournaments in a row. There's a little bit of a break before Atlanta. So take this one off. You get like 3 weeks off. Plus, Atlanta, what a lot of people probably aren't thinking about is MLP and PPA back to back.
Yeah.
So you're going to be in Atlanta for a week or more. So I hope you like Atlanta.
Well, I'm not because I don't have MLP. I'm
That's right.
DC. Yeah,
That's
so
right.
I'm good.
Us too.
I'm good.
Yeah. We don't go to Atlanta. We only go, our first tournament's DC. So and there's no PPA in DC.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
Yeah.
So Callie and Anna Bright are the 1 seed. They really had no trouble. I think they gave up like 7 total points until they got to the semis.
Quite a bit more than that, but yeah.
Okay.
Quarters was closer.
Okay. Well, yeah. Oh, that's right. They played Brashes in quarters. And
Yeah.
Maggie kind of melted down a little bit. Maggie's really talented.
She's going to block you now too.
No, I love Maggie and Nick's mid, but she kind of melted down a little bit. It's okay. Like Maggie's pulled out of matches for anxiety. We've seen it. And she's a really
What match has she pulled out of?
Of freaking MLP. I don't think that's a secret.
No, but I don't know if it was because of anxiety or something else.
Okay, well, Maggie's very talented, is my point. And I think that Maggie gets in her own head a little bit.
Okay.
And I think that she could be one of the top players on tour. She just has to fight.
She's
through.
interesting. She's like a silent killer.
She is.
Not much emotion, but she plays well.
And she's very sweet and she's very nice. And she's freaking good, dude. Like she's tall, she's long.
Yeah.
She has effortless power. And yeah, I think she's really good. I just think that she gets in her own head a little bit. That's all.
Okay, Alex and Vivian. So they played all the tournaments together on APP, and they were top 3 almost every single time.
Yeah,
in APP.
it was them playing fudge bar basically in every. Yeah.
But they end up playing here, and they had a very, very close one with Brasha. I think that game was well over an hour. The points were crazy. 20, 30 ball rallies almost every single time.
And then they would dump one in the net.
Yeah.
Yeah. They made a lot of mental errors in that one. Alex and Glassman, unfortunately. But they played well. I mean, dude, Alex is proven. I know it's only 3 tournaments, but she's proven that she belongs on the PPA.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I mean,
I would still like to see another 3 to 4 months, but yeah, she's for sure belongs in the PPA.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
On the other side of it, so Tammy Emmerich and Lina Padiga Maite, team mom. You know Lina's a mom?
I do, yeah. Yep.
And so they end up making a deep run to the semis. They beat Jilly B and Rachel Summers.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Lindsay Newman and Lane Sleeth. And then they end up playing Tina and Leia in the semis. Unfortunately for Tina, so Tina and Tammy used to be partners.
Mm-hmm.
And they're very close friends.
Yeah.
So they know each other's games well. And Tina and Leia were just too good. I mean, I'm not sure either one missed in that match. They just played really well. So they beat them 11-1, 11-5. So then we get to the finals on Sunday. And it was 10-0 game 1 for Tina and Leia.
Mm-hmm.
And I promise you, Tyler, I am not sure Tina and Leia missed a shot for those first 10 points.
Mm-hmm.
They were on fire. Tina, this is what we're talking about matchups. Tina is a great dinker.
Mm-hmm.
Great. And Leia was just playing on the right, and all Leia did was just sit on any sort of speed ups and counter. Mm-hmm. And Tina would just dink Callie and Anna Bright to death. Mm-hmm. And then when they would go to pull the trigger, Leia would sit on it and put it away. And Leia's obviously a great volleyer. We know this. And they would just freaking put it away. And their game plan was incredible. And they beat them 11-1, 11-7. Now here's the crazy part. Game 3. Mm-hmm. It's 10-4. They have match point. It might have been 10-2 or 10-3. Mm-hmm. They have match point. Tina gets a sitter, overhead sitter, right into the net.
Yeah.
Then they freaking side them out.
Yeah.
Callie and Anna score a point or two. Tina and Leia finally get a stop. Boom. They give it right back to them. Mm-hmm. Then again, they get a couple more points, get it to 7. Now it's 7. Now it's 7-9, I think. Or 7-10. Mm-hmm. They freaking give it back to them. I mean, it was crazy. So they ended up having 7 match points And then Tina and Leia did something smart. They took an offensive timeout because it's hard to win it. Like, this is your first one, right?
Yeah.
And it was literally like 10 minutes of Tina and Leia pissing down their leg. That's probably not the right term, but until they were able to close it out.
Yeah.
Because I think it's hard to win your first one. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
And like I said, Tina had an easy sitter to win it, but they pulled it off and they won 11-1, 11-7, 11-7. The two of them, I hope we see more of them together. I don't know who Tina has tournaments with or who Leia has tournaments with, but they complement each other so well.
So to my understanding, this is their second tournament they've played together.
And their second medal.
Exactly.
So they have a gold and a bronze.
Yep.
That's pretty impressive.
Yep.
I mean, Tina has, her and Deck will have, 2 or 3 silvers this year. She's got 2 or 3 bronze and silvers in women's.
Do you know who I think the credit belongs to with Tina?
Colin Johns.
Colin Johns?
No.
He was sitting on her bench.
Which is crazy because
he started working with her this year, and so this year
he was
seen a lot of
He was
improvements.
on our bench last year for MLP.
So you have to give
coaching.
credit where
He
it's
started
due.
coaching her last year.
You have to give credit where credit is due.
I'm sure it's helped a lot.
Oh.
Colin is not. He's smart.
By the way, we had somebody donate to the pod on YouTube. Thank you, Doug Wilrett.
Hi,
He
Doug.
donated $25, and he said, this is to get Jimmy to essentially shut up about talking about Colin. You have to take everything mean back about him.
Colin Johns.
Or return the money with interest, he said.
Colin Johns is a great coach, and he sees the game very well.
We're clipping that.
He is. That you can't deny that. Even someone that dislikes him can't deny that. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
But he's also a good player.
He is a good player. He is not a great player.
He's good enough to get golds.
With Ben Johns.
He's good enough to get the job done.
With Ben Johns. I can name 15 people that are good enough.
He would be better without him.
Oh, stop. Should we talk about that? Should we talk about Dayne Gingrich?
Oh, let's go through men's doubles first.
Okay, anyways, so Leia, congrats to Leia and Tina.
Okay, moving on. Men's doubles.
You know who wasn't good enough to get gold in men's doubles?
Me.
Colin Johns. He lost the freaking Daescu and Tardio again.
Okay, moving on. All right, so
Whoa, we're in men's doubles.
we got to build up there. Okay, so Ben and Colin come in the number 1 seed. Okay, so I talked about this a little bit. They had a very, very favorable draw to the semis.
Yeah.
To the semis. Now, granted, a lot of that is due to because Jay and Pat pulled out, and so they would have played them in the quarters.
Yeah.
And so since they pulled out, which reminds me, why was there no lucky loser there? There should have been a lucky loser.
Because they didn't have a bye into the round of.
They
They did.
No,
Oh,
yeah,
you're right. They
yeah.
did. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know why they didn't have a lucky loser.
Yeah.
For that one.
They should have.
Anyways, Jay and Pat pull out. Pat was sick. I think he's got the flu of some sort. Hopefully he gets better. I'm sure he will in the next few weeks.
Yeah. So
Federico and Pablo's last tournament ever.
last tournament ever, and
How awkward was that when they're talking to them about this
the
is your
video.
last
And
tournament?
they're like, "Why don't you guys hug?" Yeah. Ireland was like, "No, hug him. Hug him now. Damn it, grab him. Do it." I was like, "Oh, calm down." Yeah, that was funny. And so, did you see who they're playing with next?
Yeah.
Pablo's playing with James,
Yes, I did know that.
and Fed's playing with Matt Wright.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Improvement.
It'll be interesting. I mean, we don't know how they'll mesh. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes you think partners will do well and they don't, and then other
Well,
times.
the one thing you've harped on for a long time is you wanted to see Pablo without Fed.
Yes, I'd like to see Fed without
And Fed
Pablo
without
too.
Pablo, yeah. So
Yeah.
so their last tournament, they ended up losing to Daescu and Tardio in the quarters, I believe.
Yeah.
So Daescu and Tardio were the Giant Slayers. They had a tough draw. So first of all, they had to play Charlie Cheeseburger. Shout out Utah.
Go Utah.
But they had to play Connor Garnett and Christian Alshon
That was in the round of 16.
in the round of 16. Then they had to play Pablo and Fed.
Okay.
And then they had to play Ben and Colin.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, that's a tough run of three in a row, right?
Yeah, I would have thought the Garnett Alshon would have been their quarter and Fed would have been their round of 16.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a tough draw no matter what.
Yeah, for sure. And they pickled the Johns brothers in game 3.
They did. So I was following along live. And I see that Ben and Colin win 11-1. I'm like, wow, this is going to be over quick. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden it's like 8-8 in the second. And then it's over.
Yeah. 13-11 and then 11-0.
Yeah.
I think they said they won like 18 of 20 points or something.
So are people figuring out Ben and Colin, or are people getting better overall, which is kind of similar?
I think people are getting better, number one, but I also think that Tardio, this is stylistically. Gabe Tardio is a bad matchup for Ben and Colin.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for that is because Colin Johns creates zero offense.
Mm-hmm.
He's great at resetting the ball, right? I mean, his freaking midcourt resets. So I had a conversation with Tim Parks over the weekend. We talked about the top 5 shots or weapons that people have in pickleball. Obviously, Ben's backhand roll. Annalie's freaking two-handed poach is up there, right? Freaking J-Dub's flick.
Yeah.
And one of the like best, I don't want to say it's a best shot, but the person who like Colin John's midcourt reset is incredible. It's as good as anything in pickleball, but he doesn't generate any offense. And so he's kind of just there to be that
So what he should do that reset, get up to the line, and then start attacking.
and then start attacking.
Yeah. But right now, for the most part, he's resetting and just block.
And then block.
Yeah.
Where Tardio is attack.
Yeah.
Descue's attacking. And so what they're doing is they're putting this relenting pressure on Ben and Colin that they probably aren't used to seeing. And Tardio has great attacks.
Yeah. So
And he's
I think the
deceptive.
dynamics are that Andre, he's Colin Johns.
Yeah.
He's making everything, he's resetting, and then Tardio is Ben. And he's reaching in there, he's speeding everything up.
Yep.
He's longer than Ben, he's taller than Ben,
Yep.
younger than
Yeah.
him. And so it's just hit and miss.
And he's very unorthodox.
Yes, yeah. He'll go for the craziest shots.
Yeah. And sometimes he gets them, sometimes he doesn't. But he has a guy like Andre next to him telling him to keep pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
And that's how you lose 11-1 and then come back and win 13-11, 11-0.
Yep.
Right? Because he probably did miss a lot of those shots in that first game.
Okay, out of 10 matches, Johns versus that matchup, Diescu Tardio.
I still think Ben and Colin probably win 8, 7. But
Well, they've lost the last 2.
But it's getting closer.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's getting closer. And yeah, they've lost the last 2. I mean, it's like I said, they're a matchup nightmare for Ben and Colin.
Okay, moving on. Bottom half of the draw. So I was down there with Xiaomei.
You and Xiaomei with a big win over. What happened? You let Greg Dow take you to 3?
It was a good match.
Marshall Brown took Ben Johns and Etta Wright to 3, and he took you and Xiaomei to 3.
It was a good match.
Why did we cut him?
You can answer that yourself. You're the GM.
We cut Marshall Brown.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
How
How did
do
he
you
play?
feel?
He played well.
He played well, yeah.
How did Dow?
Dow actually played pretty well.
Was
as
it
well.
hard with Dow just because he's so handsome?
It was very difficult to stay focused and
He's
concentrated.
a big guy too.
He is.
he's a unit.
Yeah. He's a nice guy. Both those guys are nice.
Yeah, Dow's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Marshall's great. Super nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the most, I think, locked in I've seen Dow, though, play for a
Really?
long
Well, he went
time.
on like this road trip to get there, and he had like 5 people in his car, and
Uh-huh.
maybe he just was like, "Oh my gosh, I do not want to get back in that car with those people. I need to win some matches."
Anyway, so we played them, we beat them, and then we play Big Papa Jimmy, James Ignatowicz, and Johnny
Mis-
Goldberg.
Mr. Lawyer, are you injured?
He was wearing a shirt called Johnny or something
Yeah,
like that.
it says, "Are you injured?"
Yeah.
Did you get injured to call him?
No.
So was Johnny chirping?
He was a little bit, which was kind of fun, kind of to be expected. But yeah, we ended up winning 11-5, 12-10. There was quite a few good points there. Once again, the wind was, I would say, at least 10 miles an hour that match, maybe 13 to 15 or so. So that
Yeah.
played a small factor.
Yeah. So you pick up that win.
We get that win, and then we go on to play Dylan and James JW, who end up winning the tournament, and we lost 5-6. Yeah.
How'd that play out?
Second game, I was very disappointed in myself. We got up quite a bit. We were up like 6-2, 6-3 or something like that. Xiaomei was lighting them up, and then I missed 3 returns in the second game. 3 returns.
3?
3.
You can't give.
And
free
I can
points.
promise you, it's not because they were drilling those serves.
Can't give free points.
I know.
In pro pickleball.
But yeah, I thought we played okay. Nothing special. Xiaomei's, he's good. I mean, he likes to.
Do you have
the
more
ball.
together or no?
We don't, but I mean, we're friends. We're talking. If something pops up, then what do you say? Why?
I have no idea. Yeah.
Say that.
Andiamo. Wait,
Okay, moving on. Tyson and Deckel, they end up having a close one with
Hayden and Callan.
before that.
Oh, yeah, with Wang Yung.
And Blaine Hovenier. 11-13, 13-11 for
Yeah.
Tyson Deckel in the game 2.
Yeah.
And then they go on to play Callan and Hayden. Hayden and Callan were up big the second game. They were up 9-2 or 9-4.
Yeah, it was 9-4
9-4.
because they talked about it, and and Tyson and Deckel come all the way back and beat him, and then beat him in the third.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. Hayden's had a couple of those really close losses in the third lately. Not more than a couple. He's had a lot of them, and I don't know if that's just a mental hump he has to get over. You know, like, does he get tight? Is it one of those things where you just have to kind of push through? Is it just kind of a stretch of bad luck? But
not only that, but they also had a very close one with DJ and CJ Klinger, 12-10 in the third to put him there.
Yeah.
Hayden and Callan.
Yeah, that was another close match. So, yeah, so then Dylan and J-Dub end up beating Tyson and Deckel. And then Deskew and Tardio, Dylan and J-Dub. I mean, the first game was close. There was 3 or 4 game points, I want to say, for Deskew and Tardio.
Wow.
And then, but Dylan and J-Dub end up pulling it out, and then they end up winning the next 2 pretty. I think it was 1-9 or something.
So I've said this before, but Tardio, he trains with JW. He's known them for a long time.
So
He's
did Deskew, by the way. All 4 of them trained together, they said. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've had this belief for quite a while, and maybe that's slowly going down, but I feel like Tardio has a big mental block against JW.
Yeah, for sure. And also, he knows every single shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
He knows everything he's going to do. Mm-hmm. And yeah, he struggles against J-Dub, and Dylan. Like, he can beat other people, but then he struggles against those guys.
So I feel like this situation, J-Dub and Dylan, are very similar to Fed, as in they're getting to the finals. They're beating almost every single team except for the Johns.
Yeah.
They can't beat the Johns.
Yeah.
And most players that I've talked to, they say they would rather play the Johns than JW and Dylan.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Johns, they pulled out of the bronze. What's their fine?
From what I've heard, it was $500, and I don't know the amount of points.
Because Colin was there kicking it on the sideline with Tina and
Coaching.
Leia.
That's why she won.
Anyways, so Dylan and J-Dub come back from their hiatus, come back together, and they win gold their very first tournament back after playing U.S. Open, APPs, and everything else.
Yeah. Ken
They're
Herman's
good.
done well.
Ken Herman better hold on to Deskew.
Can you give us an update there?
I don't know. I honestly don't know that update. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. All right. Moving on. First,
Vulcan.
our next sponsor of this segment of the pod.
Ball seemed to play well this week.
Yeah, there weren't too many complaints. It's really hit and miss. It's kind of weird. Anyways, thank you, Vulcan, for sponsoring this portion of the podcast. We love your ball, the Vulcan V Pro Flight. Go check it out at pickleballcentral.com or vulcansportinggoods.com and use code KOTC to save yourself some money.
Yeah. So we have a couple of subjects we need to approach, discuss. Okay. Number 1, Dayne Gingrich, senior pro Dayne.
Coach Dayne.
Coach Dayne. He
I've played with him.
You have what?
It was a California Open in 2021 or something like that.
So Dayne used to coach Elise. He used to coach Lauren Stratman.
Mm-hmm.
He's coached quite a few, I think Etta for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a few pros. He just released a book.
Have you read it?
Pickleball Mindset. Mm-hmm. No, I haven't read it. And he goes on Facebook and he kind of lights up the attitude of a player at the US Open, basically saying that this player had lost. And then they went back to the pro tent in front of all the pro players. They basically just ripped on their partner.
Do I need to get out of the room for this one?
No. This is just the background.
Okay.
And then the discussion kind of carries on, and he makes a comment that him, and I want to know your thoughts on this, that Dayne Gingrich and Althoff would beat Ben Johns and Lauren Stratman.
I think you need to give a little bit more background. So, in addition to that, he was coaching Lauren.
Yes.
She was his flower girl.
Yes.
25 years ago
Yes.
at his wedding. They've known each other for quite some time.
Yes. However,
And it was pretty random, in my opinion, how that.
it was random how he threw her name in there.
Yeah.
However, just to be very clear, Lauren's mom got on there and said she's on vacation with Lauren, and that Lauren texted him multiple times. I have the screenshots.
Yes. Yeah.
And told him, hey, that's not cool. Take that down. And he never did until
the day after.
So Dayne said, I was teasing Lauren because that's what we've always done with each other, thinking she'd come at me for being old and slow. I may have misread her reaction, privately apologized, and deleted my post. I take responsibility for being insensitive and will no longer post this type of content. Lauren's mom said, I'm with Lauren on vacation. Lauren let you know immediately how she felt about your post to no response. She texted you again and no response from you. Finally, you respond this morning after her post is generating responses not favorable towards you. A little too late. Damage control at this point, it seems. So, a couple things. Was Dayne joking? Or does Dayne really think him and Althoff would beat Ben and Lauren? And would they?
That's a lot of questions.
Would Dayne and Althoff beat Ben and Lauren?
Let me ask you.
Don't.
Would Dayne and Althoff beat Ben alone?
Yes.
You think they would beat Ben alone?
2-on-1?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Althoff's the best senior pro by far, and Dayne's probably number 2. Or Weinbach.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
You think Ben could beat them 1-on-2?
I think it'd be pretty close.
Really?
Yeah.
Even with Dayne's pickleball mindset? You really do? That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's a Tim Parks prop bet.
Yeah.
That he needs to put money on.
And so if Ben could beat them 1 versus 2, then I think he should be able to beat them.
Was Lauren addition by subtraction at this point in her career?
I don't know. I think
Does Lauren hurt him? Zane posted something. Zane Avertill posted something about would him and Hayden beat DJ in a fight.
Uh-huh.
And I said, I think Hayden alone has a better chance than you. You would actually hurt him. Would Lauren hurt Ben at this point?
I don't know. You're putting me on the spot.
Now or never.
That's interesting.
You tell me.
I think Ben and Lauren would beat Althoff and Dayne.
I think they would too.
I do.
I think Dayne, I don't know if he actually meant it. I think he just wanted to kind of stir the pot, which is
he's
kind of what he did.
Yeah, that's what old guys do when they don't have jobs and they're retired, have nothing else going on. They write 68-page long Facebook posts and
Jim Kloss?
try to stir the pot. I'm not talking about that guy. He's like, thanks for being a fan. You can't say anything about that dude.
Oh, I have a funny story for you about him.
Oh gosh.
Do you want to hear it?
I
So
saw.
he was there the whole weekend. I was chatting with him every
Tyler,
now
I
and then.
saw the very first grandstand match he was on. I promise you, this is not exaggeration. The match starts, and this is Jim. Okay, so on this court, I was like, bro, did you just sprint over here? Like, what is happening? Like, I thought he was going to die on the mic. I was worried.
So I was playing with Jaume, and he let me know multiple times, that he, Jim Kloss, had picked Jaume out many months ago, that he was his find.
Oh.
Yeah, that he knew that Jaume was going to be where he's at now.
You know everybody else did too, right? He's
no,
aware.
this was Kloss's pick. He knew many months ago.
Dude, he said
just as he predicted.
He just
predicted.
did that with that No Way Cliff, and everybody's known about him. Not everybody, but we were well aware of him 2 months ago.
Just as he predicted.
Like, here's the thing with pickleball.
Thank you for being his fan.
It's not that hard in pickleball. I mean, yes, there's people that like you can see that they have the skill, but it's not that hard to be like, hey, this person has the skill set if they put in the work.
Yeah.
I love to take credit for Tyra and for Tina Pisnik, but the reality is anybody that watched them knew the same exact thing, right?
Yeah.
It's not hard to be like, Tyra Black has crazy athleticism. Her strokes look good. She's powerful. If she puts in the work, she's going to be really good. Mm-hmm. Whoa, that's weird. She did. It's not hard to be like, Tina Pisnik has the steadiest hands and the best resets in the women's game. If Tina goes all in and puts in the work, which again, she was a high-level pro tennis player before a car accident, she's going to be good. And look what happened.
Yeah.
Like, that's not that. Like, it doesn't take a genius to figure that out. So, yeah.
All right. Anything else?
No.
Okay, let's get into questions. But first, we have a new sponsor of this show.
We do?
We do.
Who is it?
You're wearing them.
Oh, Stack.
Stack Athletics. I'm wearing their shirt. I'm wearing their hat.
This is a Stack hat. This was done by Stack.
Yeah.
Black Bear Stack collab launching the day this podcast comes out, April 30th. Check it out. Collab. Get on the website, californiablackbears.co, I think.
Okay, go check out stackathletics.com and use code KOTC to save. They are a premier pickleball clothing brand. I will be wearing them. I have been wearing them kind of on and off, but now that they're coming out with a new line of clothes, the new lineup is incredible. This is one of their shirts. This is one of their hats. I love it.
Yeah.
Designed by pickleball players for pickleball players. Go support them. Really good
Bro,
quality.
you know it's so sick too? Front page of their website.
Michael Lloyd.
On full display, the butterfly tattoo.
Are you a fan?
Is it a butterfly or a moth?
We'll have to ask him.
Right on his freaking quad. Like, I wish that
They support a lot of pro players. They support the Walker sisters, DJ Young, Michael Lloyd, myself,
Christine Maddox.
They're expanding to
dude, Stack
players.
is sick, and also like their stuff is amazing. Go check it out. They have a brand new line coming out.
Yeah, and even their current lineup is pretty sweet.
Yeah, Stack is rad. Their hats are awesome.
Okay, moving on to our last segment of this show, which is questions.
I might have a couple.
Once again, big shout out to Doug Wilrett on YouTube donating $25.
Doug, I'm sorry about all the things I've ever said about Colin Johns.
Okay, somebody said, what shoes do you work out in? I'm assuming they're referring to me because Jimmy, he does not work out. He said he hates
This
it.
guy.
I wear Nike Free Knits. Are these Free Knits?
Yeah.
Fly Knits?
Fly Knits.
Fly Knits. Yeah,
Yeah.
5.0, I think. Fly Knits. I run in them,
Yeah.
work out in them. Super
I'm
lightweight.
pretty sure those are
super comfortable.
women's shoes, but yeah, I'm sure they're comfortable.
Jimmy's mad right now. Okay.
Oh, look. Women's Nike Fly Knits. Exact same pair you're wearing. What? Are those the pair you're wearing?
No, those are the white and black ones. These are a colored one.
There's a Mother's Day special.
Hey, give me
right.
one. What
Really
was
good.
it about pickleball that first got you hooked and kept coming back? Jimmy.
For me, it was because
It
I've
was all the
always,
smack talk you were doing.
yeah, I love talking smack, but also like I grew up playing every sport, right? I grew up playing football, baseball, basketball. I played soccer, believe it or not. No, I wasn't a goalie. I played every sport. Even after like I got out of college and stuff, I was playing I started playing old man softball, and I'd play fast pitch softball. I'd play all these other sports to just try and stay competitive. And so find something like pickleball where you can still play tournaments and stay competitive. I golfed to stay competitive. That's what really got me hooked. But I think I've told this story before, but I was playing with older people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I felt like, well, yeah, this is fun, but as soon as I got decent, I was like, well, I kind of reached my peak.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got introduced to new players like you and other people, I was like, oh, there's a whole different level to this sport,
Mm-hmm.
which, yeah, you all of a sudden brings back those competitive juices, right?
Love it. Yeah, similar story. Growing up when I was playing tennis, I loved mini tennis. I loved it, as most tennis players do. And when I started playing pickleball, it was like, this is very similar to mini tennis, a lot of finesse, a lot of control, a lot of shots like that. And so I just had a blast and wanted to keep coming back. Is Colin's mixed success due to the new paddle?
It helps, for sure. Colin's become much better at mixed because he's be able to generate a lot more power. Now, I'm not saying there could be a chance that Colin's also working on his mixed game. Maybe he listens to the pod and, he realizes the grief he gets, but Colin is playing much better at mixed. And the paddle does help.
Is Diescu still playing APP tournaments?
Our understanding is that he is. We thought he was signed exclusively to PPA, but now it sounds like they're still in limbo. So I don't know where Diescu stands with both, but seems like for the foreseeable future, we're going to see him bouncing back and forth.
Yeah. Who would be the best men's partner for Ben after Colin retires?
That's a good question. I would say at this point, I think that Ben, he would play well with anybody, but you got to have someone, either a lefty like you or someone that can play that right side and play that call and roll.
Mm-hmm.
But someone that can attack from the right side. Ignatowicz would be a great one, because I think Ignatowicz can attack from that side.
Okay.
And someone that has good counters and that will speed it up. I mean, Riley from the right side is pretty solid. Dylan's a great, obviously, probably the best right side player in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would say that Dylan would be a great mix for him. But yeah, somebody that has good hands, but that will also be a threat on that right side. So yeah, Tyler would be good because he's a lefty. Tyler, Pablo, any lefty really. Augie would be great for him. Problem with Augie is he's got to fix his backhand dink, because you sit in those backhand dink battles when you play with Ben forever. And then, yeah, someone that can attack. The other guy that, if he would focus on that right side, which I think he's probably more of a left side player, but he's so good at pulling the trigger and attacking, is Jaume.
Yeah.
But more from the left. But if Jaume could do that from the right, that dude is relentless in his attacks.
Yeah.
And I think Jaume would be another one that would play really well with Ben.
Somebody said, what does Big Pickle mean? Is it a company?
Big Pickle is like...
Wasn't that a reference first made by Tim Parks?
Tim Parks gets all the credit for Big Pickle. Big Pickle is just the all-encompassing...
PPA,
Pickleball Central, MLP.
Yeah.
The guys that essentially run pickleball. They run the tours. They run the merchandise. That's Big Pickle, yeah.
Alshon and Ignatowicz pairing. Will it happen? Is there really beef?
Yeah, there's really beef, but it's like...
I think there was.
Friendly.
I don't know if there still is.
It's like friendly trash talk, annoying, dumb beef.
Yeah.
That's very easy. It's nothing personal, and it's very easy to put it aside to play pickle together. Yes. And they are pairing.
Diescu has sealed his spot as top 3 men's player.
That's Jason Peary. Top 3 is too high.
What would you go?
I think he's top 5, but I don't think he's top 3.
Who are the top 3?
I would say Ben's 1 still. Number 2 right now is
it used to be Riley, but he has
no. Riley's not
in
in
there.
It's J-Dub, I would say.
Okay. Over Dylan?
Yeah, I think so. But
Okay.
Dylan's probably like 5 or 6.
Okay.
Number 3, I think it's Ignatowicz when he's healthy.
Okay.
4, I think is Alshon.
Okay. I would flip those actually.
Okay.
I would flip those.
I won't argue with either one. And then 5 is probably Diescu right now.
Okay.
And but if you wanted to argue Dylan or Thomas Wilson,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't argue with those either.
Okay.
But I don't think he's top 3 yet.
Okay. The thing with Diescu, and I try to be objective, but no matter what I say, people give me stuff
we're
or
gonna
whatever.
twist it.
But I think Diescu is incredible.
Why do you hate Diescu?
Get out of here. Luckily, he's not lefty. Otherwise, people would really have a go. Diescu is incredible. He's had incredible runs. I think he is insanely consistent. I think he needs to develop more offense.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. And again, it's just
yeah. To me, he's like a Callan Dawson, but next level.
Yeah, he's really good. He's a really, really good player, but he also needs to be partnered with the right person.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with that.
All right, we'll do a couple more. Somebody said, what makes Tardio so good?
Dude, his deception. Tardio can hold and hold and hold and hold, and then the last second, hit that inside out forehand or hit that backhand down the line. His deception is
is good. It's good. It's really good. But I would just say it's his aggression.
And his aggression, yes.
He's speeding up everything. He's tall. He's lanky.
Yep.
He's reaching in there. You don't know when he's going.
Yeah, I know.
I would say it's more so that than his deception.
And even at singles, he's really good at his singles. He's really good at just freaking attacking everything.
Yeah.
The dude is just crazy aggressive. The other thing is if you look at him, he never seems to really get rattled. He always looks like he has tears in his eyes.
Yeah.
But he never seems to get rattled. Like he's just, I don't know. Dude, I love Gabe. He's a stud.
Do you have to wear the PPA logo on the back of your shirt you wear during matches? Thanks.
Yes, you do. Fun fact. If you show up without it, Liv Borski,
Borski Nation,
shout out Liv, will go press it on for you.
Yeah. They've actually gotten really good at that. They carry around a heat press and just stamp it on.
In fact, I remember Alshon in the middle of a match, I think it was Palm Springs, the ref was telling him he couldn't play
Yeah.
because he didn't have it on there and he had to go get his shirt pressed.
Yeah. So if you're on center court or a streaming court, they're obviously going to be a lot more stringent on that. But if you're on a side court, there's not too many repercussions.
And then if there's ever a new sponsor, for example, Veolia, they will heat press those on all of your shirts as well.
Yeah.
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 So they've gotten really good at that. Liv spends a lot of time making shirts for people. So if you guys have a design, send it to her. She'll hook
Somebody
it up.
said, do you have merch or could we put your logo on a shirt for PPA Atlanta, KOTC?
Yes. Done.
You can do that. We'll give you permission just now.
Yeah.
If you end up selling a lot, give us a small commission or something.
Yes, but we're gonna have merch.
We're
We have a
coming out with
meeting.
merch.
When's our merch meeting?
Tomorrow.
We have a merch meeting tomorrow.
We have a merch meeting tomorrow.
Yeah. There you go. So we're in.
Is causing chaos the new strategy to beat John's bros? Gabe and Andre have done it twice now.
Yes.
I think there's two ways which essentially come down to chaos. But number one, you go full on chaos, like drive everything, speed everything up, and just hope that you're on. Or two, you kind of do what Gabe and Andre did, which was Andre slow played them, and then Gabe was just everywhere reaching in. They didn't know when Gabe was going to reach in or reach out.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, here's the thing. This is where we talk about matchups and styles. Who doesn't cause chaos and who plays a game where they try to outdink people and wait for you to speed up and then they counter is Dylan and J-Dub. And who can't Dylan and J-Dub beat? Ben and Colin. And so that's where it's different. And J-Dub and Dylan, they have to change their strategy against Ben and Colin.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to outdink. You're not going to beat them at their game.
Yeah.
And it's the same in singles with Fed and Ben, right? Fed plays the same singles game as Ben. He's not going to beat Ben at that game, but you know, he's got to change it and adapt. Anyways,
we talked about this a little bit before, but somebody said, were Ben and his brother punished or fined for withdrawing from bronze?
I hope so.
So assuming they were healthy, then yes, they should have been punished. They should have been fined. But if somebody was sick or injured or did not feel up to it, I don't know what the protocol is then.
Well,
Like if somebody...
Ben played on Sunday and
Yes.
Colin was there.
Yeah, but
So
what if...
clearly they were okay.
Well, you can still be injured and be there.
But Ben played.
Colin?
Do you think Ben got a turkey leg at Disneyland?
A turkey leg?
Those big, massive ones?
What are the donuts? Aren't the like the long...
They're called churros.
No, I know what churros
It's
are.
cultural appropriation.
Calm
the
down.
donuts?
Don't they have like a famous donut there? Or maybe it's the churros.
Churros are famous.
Yeah.
When's the last time you've been to Disneyland?
It's
Take
not-
your girls,
not
bro.
long
They're
enough.
a great age.
They're not tall enough to ride any rides.
They're great. They're never going to be.
They will be.
Disneyland, honestly, is the happiest place on earth.
Do you think Bright and Rohrabacher would have beaten Jansen and Pisnik in a gold match?
It would have been closer because Tina's a really bad matchup for Callie. But with that being said, I think Tina and Leia played way too well to lose that. And Anna was not aggressive at all. We talk about aggressive and chaos. Anna was not aggressive. She wasn't trying to take any of the pressure off of Callie. So no, I think Leia and Tina win that too. They were that good.
Is Tyler trying to play with Fed? Somebody asked.
Have you asked him?
I have asked him, and he actually responded to me.
He did?
He did.
Did he say, I am choosing partners next month. I'll keep you in mind. Speaking of that,
You will be notified.
yes, you'll be notified. Speaking of that guy, he moved back to Phoenix, Riley Newman.
Did you not see his video?
Yeah, back to the valley, standing over the hill like he's freaking Simba in The Lion King. Simba!
All right. Anything else?
No.
All right. There's one other question. Somebody said, what's the Discord link? So we've actually updated the Discord link. So
We did?
it used to expire, and so we'd have to generate a new one every
that's
single
right.
time. But now we have a permanent one. So check our Instagram. That should have the most up to date.
Yeah.
Anything else? So we have it feels like a few months off when reality is like 2 weeks off.
Should there be a real world Jersey Shore series for pickleball where they like follow
No.
you around the Airbnbs and stuff?
No,
That'd be funny.
no, it would not.
Holly Smith said that would be amazing.
No.
Should the players be mic'd up? Because now your benches are mic'd up.
They should do what NBA does, just follow them around. Like, I don't
Yeah.
want to wear an actual cord,
Yeah.
but like you can.
But you see the benches are mic'd up now, right?
Yeah, I mean they've been mic'd up, I think, for a while.
Yeah, and they cut to the benches
Yeah.
during.
You know,
Which
I
is
think some
cool.
of the NBA arenas do it where I don't know what it's called, but they do crazy sound stuff. So you hear like the actual basketball when it goes through the net, when it hits
Yeah.
the rim, you hear the shoes.
squeaking.
Yeah. Do you think they should do that for pickleball and then like amplify it?
Yeah, for sure. That's cool. The other thing that I suggested, by the way, to the PPA.
That you suggested?
They
Or
have a
gym class?
suggestion box. I filled it out.
Uh-huh.
One, I said no more gym class. Nobody watched Grandstand this weekend for that reason. And number two,
You sure talk about him a lot.
I said I'm a fan. I said that on center court, they should show the scores of other matches. So when people are watching on center,
But that would distract a lot of people. If there was a really close match, you might have people like jumping up to go watch that match.
yeah, but they do that. And I guess you can't really jump up in the middle of a baseball game and go to Oakland to watch that game because it's close. But
Yeah.
I just feel like that's something that
Maybe they should have that around the venue.
maybe around the venue,
Yeah.
scores of other matches going on.
Dude, if I was playing on center and I saw a really close match, I'd
Would you get up
take a
and-
timeout and go peek over.
Look over the fence.
But one cool thing that PPA has done is they've done these massive draws now, like physical paper draws, cardboard.
Bro, did you see the video? Speaking of Mary Brasha,
Yeah, they took it home.
they tried to fit it in freaking.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a good.
in
that's
his-
a small.
What's his
small
name?
thing.
Is it? How do you say
Tatis.
it? Tatis.
Yeah,
I played against him in Vegas.
he's pretty in shape.
He is more than in shape. And Tatis and Chris Beach Boy Gunnell, you know him?
Uh-huh.
He comes to Utah sometimes.
Yeah.
He might live in Utah. I played them in Vegas at Mountain West Regionals.
Mm-hmm.
They beat us the first game, first match. My partner, we were up. Dude, we were up. Here's a funny story. We were up 10-0.
Uh-huh.
And Brad Hohen was my partner, and he cramped
Of course he did.
to where he couldn't walk.
Yeah.
We were up 10-0 in the third. They came back and beat us 12-10. I obviously can't take over. I'm Colin Johns. And then we played him again in the semis and beat
You
him.
just compare yourself to Colin Johns.
I did.
He's not going like that.
Anyways, and then we played him again and beat him. But yeah, Tatis he's a good dude. But he was fitting the big cardboard in his Jeep.
Dude, those guys are like scuba divers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And what's is it his wife or girlfriend?
Girlfriend.
Yeah. She watches the show.
Yeah.
She tagged us.
Yeah, she's cool.
Yeah, she's cool. Anyways.
Anything else?
Nope.
Okay, if you've made it this far, please do us a big favor. Hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps the show grow and pushes it out to a new audience. Big thanks to our sponsors. We've said this before, but we should have another new sponsor in the next probably 1 to 2 weeks that we will announce, and it
Really?
is nutritional based.
Hey, guess what else?
What?
Connor Arnett's in Salt Lake.
Oh, yes, he is in Salt Lake, so we will be doing an in-person
In
pod.
person with CG.
In the kitchen.
In the kitchen.
In the kitchen, not the kitchen, but in the
In Tyler's
physical
kitchen.
physical kitchen.
In Tyler's kitchen.
Big thanks to our sponsors: Pickler, Pickleball Central, C&D Pickleball Nets, Vulcan, and
Stack.
Stack Athletics. All right, thanks.
Peace out.
See you guys.